Hello everybody and welcome to Avenger Park. It is semi-final day here in NPL Victoria and it is the Avengers getting ready to take on the Cannons, which shapes to be an excellent game here in the Senal NPL Victoria final series. As both sides now go through their final warm-ups, we'll just quickly go through the starting lineups. And for Avondale, starting in goal is Rory Bryan after Chris Oldfield has suffered just a slight niggling injury which will keep him out for just to the game, and they hope to have him back if Avondale do make the grand final. So Rory Bryan with a big job in goal today. A back four of James Riccobene, Phil Riccobene, Scott Hillier and Brandon Lundy. In midfield it's Jonathan Germano, Tuzuku Sakia and Yusuf Ahmed, with Stefan Zini, Joey Katabian and Liam Boland. In attack on the bench it's Claudio Sikora, Charlie Beverley, Dylan Jacoupy, Yite Towns and Stefan Valentini. Chris Taylor's Oakley side again remain unchanged. It's John Honos in goal with a back four of Thomas Matthews, Blair Govan, Ramazan Tavzan Kioglu and Hamish Miller. In midfield it's Matthew Fashini and Luke Pavlu, with Joe Guest in front of them, Ryan Pachkowski and Wade Decker on the wings, with Harry White leading the line. On the bench it's George Samaranis, Felix Dimitrakis, Dominic Jamriska, Goran Zoric and Milos Luic. My name is Chris Gleeson. We welcome to the commentary, who happily was able to get up the stairs after he's recovering from his ACL injury, Josh Parrish. Welcome to the commentary.
Thanks, Chris. It's an absolute delight to be here. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to be here, and certainly not in this heightened commentary position, but it shapes as a fantastic game. Two sides who are almost polar opposites in style, which always makes for an interesting encounter, and so much on the line.
And it is Avondale who kick off the first of two big semi-finals today. And just like last year, it is still the final four is still the same, with Oakley, Avondale, Heidelberg and Bentley fighting it out for a spot in the grand final. Last year, Avondale came from a couple of goals behind late to defeat Bentley Greens, and it was Heidelberg who edged out Oakley last year. But still, it's the final four again here in season 2019, Josh.
Yeah, just the matchups have changed, which is nice for variety, but the parallels don't end there. It was, of course, Oakley who put Avondale to the sword 4-3 a few weeks ago, and that was the scoreline that Avondale won that thrilling semi-final.
Well, the ball only almost found its way through. Now it's out in midfield. And the big switching ball looking for Stefan Zini, who takes it on the first touch. Matthews through the back of him. Just a little taster for what could be encountered there between Stefan Valentini and Tom Matthews today.
First tackle, let him know you're there. That's what they say.
And it's Phil Riccobene. Now Brandon Lundy and Germano. Now the ball's out wide. They did get their first ever finals win last year against Port Melbourne in an elimination final, did Avondale, before making their way through Bentley late and losing out in the grand final against Heidelberg. They've had to pick themselves up after leading the NPL Victoria all season up until the 97th minute of round 25, where Sean Ellis's goal switched the league in Heidelberg's favour and they ended up winning the Premier's Plate. So Avondale have had a chance to reset. They had an excellent game and really dominated the game against Bentley Greens last week in their 3-0 victory. And Oakley, Josh, we know how strong that they've been, 17 games unbeaten. Their last loss was here against Avondale back, I think it was might have been round 6 or 7.
It's an unbelievable record, isn't it? That 17-game unbeaten run just shows what a pro Chris Taylor really is, that he was able to get this side out of the relegation zone. And they charged at the right time, finished third in the league, got a home final. It's all worked out for them since they rung those changes early on in the season, and they're just such a hard side to beat. They set up so disciplined. They track back on the counter-attack. They just dynamite in transition in both directions, and it just makes them a really tough prospect for any side. They make the most of set pieces. They go through Joe Guest, and they just make the most of what they have.
Ball goes long, looking for White, flicks it on, and it could have almost been an own goal there off the boot of Scott Hillier, but Rory Bryan gets an early touch in the Avondale goal. He's got that number 1 shirt on today. Of course, as we said, Chris Oldfield with a slight thigh injury keeping him out of today.
And it's not just the goalkeeping skills that you'll miss from Chris Oldfield. It's also the leadership. He is the captain. He does organise the defence. He's extremely vocal. You can usually hear him even up here in the commentary box. So I think he'll be sorely missed for his leadership capabilities on the park as well. And I believe this would be Rory Bryan's Avondale debut.
So he's spent a little bit of time at South Melbourne in recent times. He's always been a very capable number 2 goalkeeper, but you said he gets that opportunity today in a big occasion of a semi-final. He's got a big job to do today. Ball goes forward. Boland trying to win that header. In the end, it's cleared and goes out for another throw.
What do you make of all these changes to the Avondale starting lineup, Chris? It's not just minor ins and outs and like-for-like players. It's structural changes to the whole midfield.
Now you look at that with Ute Towns really sitting at the base. As we stay with play at the moment, as Yusuf Ahmed out wide to Stefan Zini. First chance to cut inside and fire. And he puts it well wide, but a little sider there from Stefan Zini, who's had an excellent year for Avondale so far.
So much attacking firepower on the park for Avondale at the moment. Rarely do you see Yusuf Ahmed, Joey Katabian and Stefan Zini all start the same game. They often share the pitch maybe late in games if they're chasing one or if they're substitutions, but usually you don't get all 3 of those attacking midfield or wingers in the same lineup.
Well, normally Tuzuku Sakia plays that number 10 role. He sort of dropped a little bit deeper with Jonathan Germano, both very talented players for Avondale, with Katabian playing the number 10 role in front of them. Ahmed and Zini out wide with Liam Boland, who, after a bit of a count back, because there was a couple of wrongly given goals to Alex Salmon, it is Liam Boland who did finish on top of the regular season with the NPL Golden Boot. Ball goes long. Hillier over the top. Referee pays advantage as the ball goes out wide, and James Ricabene away. Boland's. Germano does well to cut inside. Now find the ball over the top. This is the danger when it was Matthews versus Zini, and Zini's got it near the corner. Boland and Ahmed in the box, goes back post, looking for Katabian, too much on it, and the ball goes out for a goal kick.
Stefan Zini hasn't quite got his radar set, but to me it looks like Zoran Markovski has pushed all his chips into the middle of the table here. He hasn't gone with a traditional holding option. No Yite Towns, Phil Recabene in the back line and not playing as the number 6, so 2 very attack-minded players in Germano and Sakia playing at the base of midfield. Who's going to stop Joe Guest? That's what I want to know.
Well, Joe Guest really ran the show in that epic game at Jack Edwards Reserve earlier that you called, where Oakley come back and won 4-3, and there was some cracking goals in that game, and Joe Guest popped up with a header, of all things.
One of the shortest players on the pitch. About 20 minutes earlier in the call, myself and my co-commentator Lockie Flanagan had almost made a joke at Guest's expense about his height, so maybe he was just proving a point.
And it's going to be Oakley with his foul. The disappointing groans from the Avondale bench that we heard. But it gives Oakley a chance with his set piece, and that's why Zoran Markovski's not happy about it. You're looking at players like Matthews, Harry White, Blair Govan making their way.
And no Matt Reid in the Avondale backline to defend this one.
It's going to be Pachkowski with the left foot. Can they get the header here? Govan attacks it. Still alive, and in the end, Yusuf Ahmed away. Pavlu tried to play it forward, and in the end, a handball has been given on Harry White. So Avondale will get out of trouble.
Joe Guest, the first one in the referee's ear about that one. Maybe a little harsh against Harry White, but he didn't seem to have too many complaints, the player himself.
Chris Taylor, after round 7, where Oakley were in the relegation zone before they started this remarkable rise up the ladder and into the final series, there was calls for him to be sacked, and thought that the Oakley project, since coming on halfway through last season, was not going the way that everyone sort of expected it to, but they stuck true with Chris Taylor and they're reaping the rewards.
I mean, never write him off. He's just got so much experience at this level, and he will drill the same simple things into teams all the time, but it wins games. You can't argue with the results that they've got in the second half of this year. He has proved every doubter wrong.
Ball rebounds in the midfield. Ricabene fights for it, gets it away from Decker. Germano's little flick. Riccobene, this is well worked by Avondale. Now Zini powers it forward, cuts it back. The little back heel flick from Germano was blocked. Riccobene, Zini crosses it in, and Honos did well to get the ball away, but concedes the corner. Great work by Avondale.
Zini being very bright very early, getting very involved, easily getting on the ball. It's encouraging signs from him, even if he hasn't quite got his radar set.
Speaking to Zora Markovsky before the game, he's been very happy with how his sides responded after that late defeat to Heidelberg. That 3-0 victory against Bentley, they played some excellent football, really played Bentley off the park. And they've started brightly in those attacking areas already. As Riccobene comes across, James this time. A bunch of Avengers near the near post. Boland flicks it on, and it's found its way into the back of the net. Scott Hillier is the one with the celebration, and the set-piece routine works, and Avondale take the lead here at Avenger Park.
Well, Chris Taylor will be absolutely furious with that one. Just no organisation off the set-piece. That's not the goal that you usually see Oakley concede. It's not the goal you usually see Avondale score, but they will take it. Beautiful delivery in with the left foot of James Riccobene. Flick on, and Scott Hillier, right place, right time.
We could see the routine that they were trying to do there. They had three guys in front of the goalkeeper on the line at the near post. The ball delivered to Boland, who flicked it on. And as you said, Hillier was one of a few Avengers who could have been able to direct that goalward. And the big Kiwi centre-back opens the scoring. And the first real opportunity towards goals. And Boland flicks the header on again. Tazanchioglu away. Boland gets it forward. Now the ball's out wide. Harry White heads it into his own direction. Hillier will get back, and now Brian. In the end, he gets the claps from his bench because he just gets it clear. Doesn't have to do anything too special today, just got to do the basics right. And if he has to put it out for a throw, so be it. Ball forward. Decker. Ball falls kindly for Matthews. And now for Sheeny. Crosses it in, and here's one for Brian to come out and collect.
I think that early goal will do wonders for the neutrals watching this game. It forces Oakley to come out and chase. I think we're going to see a much more attacking spectacle as a result, so could be set for another classic here. It was, of course, a 4-3 thriller the last time these two teams met. One of the best games I've seen at this level.
And as always, through the Facebook stream, you can comment through to us and let us know your thoughts on the game and who you think will win out in these two semi-finals today here in the Senol Final Series. And Danielle says, go Oakley. Riccobene away. Katabian couldn't reel that in. Now Rama Tazanchioglu, who started pre-season after a good little spell here over the last couple of years with Avondale. Both him and Evan Christodoulou were shown out of the squad very, very late on in the season, with Christodoulou going to Altona City, and Tazanchioglu had quite a few clubs after his services, but decided on Oakley. He's really been a strong member of that back four for the Cannons. There's Riccobene. Ball cut out in midfield. Fashini forward. Too much on that. Brian will be able to collect again.
Matt Fashini, a man in form. 2 goals in 2 games. He had a grand total of a duck egg for the rest of the season, but he's come up with the big ones when necessary.
As Riccobene is fouled late. James Riccobene this time, as we've seen for a long time here in the NPL, the two brothers. Only really a way to tell them apart is their numbers. With James Riccobene playing at left back and Phil Riccobene playing right back today.
I had to interview them both at the same time once, Chris. It was... look, I just didn't mention any names. Just body language. Didn't let on that I had no idea which one was which.
Both very similar players too. Both very left-footed. Phil spent quite a bit of time in the Avondale midfield this year as well, as Tuzuku Sakia plays a first-time ball. Zini now, Jonathan Gumano. Clips it in for Boland, trying to flick it in the direction of Yusuf Ahmed, but it finds its way to Honos. Now in the midfield, good skill there by Luke Pavlou. And now over the top, looking for Guest. Hillier, the goal scorer, gets it clear. Now Boland tries to head it into the direction of Katabian. They'll pick up the second ball. Yusuf Ahmed clipped late, and he will get the foul for Avondale.
Scott Hurlier's old man is watching. G'day to you, Frank. He says, come on, Avondale. Peter says, hello from Greece. I think I can guess which team he's supporting. Keep the comments coming on the Facebook live stream if that's where you are watching.
And it is advantage Avondale with that Scott Hillier goal from the first Avondale corner of the game. Tuzuku Sakia. Jonathan Ariero, a professional A-League referee, in charge of the game today. There's Tuzuku Sakia to Hillier. And now Zini trying to find the angle to maybe get a shot away. It was quickly closed down, but the overlap out wide. And now Lundy crosses it in, and it went out before coming back in and out for a goal kick.
Was a shooting opportunity there, just not enough communication between Katabian and Zini. Katabian was better placed, but Zini took it off his toe.
As Katabian closes down Matthews well.
He's had an injury-interrupted season, Joey Katabian. Missed a lot of pre-season, and he's been involved a lot less than he would have liked. He gets the start in the big game, though. Scored a cracking goal last week, I think, against Bentley, Chris.
He's somebody who had an excellent season last year, was one of the first players picked in the Avondale lineup. He's had to bide his time on the bench quite a bit this year as Katabian, but he's coming right at the right time of the season.
And we know he's got a 30-yard pile driver in his locker if he gets the opportunity.
He's definitely one of the most pure, accurate shots a goal. Just a real proper striker is Joey Katabian. He's relishing that opportunity to play just off Liam Boland today. And Rickard Benet clears it, looking to try to hit the cameraman who had his hand out trying to protect himself from that one. Luckily it dropped just in front of our cameraman, who I believe he would have had it covered anyway, Josh. Anything to protect the equipment.
Well, this is the same cameraman we had at Kingston versus Knights, where ball actually did take the camera out and cause some serious damage.
So he's learned his lesson. He's practiced his goalkeeping skills, and in the end gets away with one. Phil Rickett Benet heads the ball. Ahmed can't control it.
If there's any more injuries in the Avondale goalkeeping ranks, I think we've got the third choice call up right here.
Let's see. Well, we've seen that with Hume City during the week too, with Michael Wee injured in that elimination final against Oakley. Possibly looking international for the FFA Cup round of 16.
And this is not another Ronaldinho. This one actually might happen, Chris.
Ball forward. Boland. Matthews. Boland again trying to tease Matthews into a challenge and cuts inside. Gumano. Tuzuku Sakia. Very crisp with their passing so early in this game. Avondale tails up with that Hillier set-piece goal. Now it's Hillier. Zini fires it in the ball, and a hard one to control, but Gumano gets the rebounds. And James passes to his brother Phil. As Oakley have sitting quite deep at the moment. Only really Harry White in front of them, and now it's Guest, and Decker comes inside. Ball back, and it's lobbed it up for Honos, who does like to test himself a little bit, passing out from the back.
Sometimes chest them down when he doesn't even need to.
Pachkowski trying to keep it in play. He couldn't. Goes out for a throw, but just seems like every time Avondale get the ball, it's a bit more assured, a bit more patient, and when Oakley get it, they're trying to move so quick. You know that Chris Taylor likes to play that counter-attacking football. There's the three quick guys up front and just balls into the channel and using their physicality So, as you said at the start of the game, it is this contrasting in the two styles.
Can be brutally effective when they're connecting. It's not quite as intricate as the Avondale build-up, of course.
There's Govan up in the air. Ball forward. And out for a throw for Lundy. Germano pretty heavy off the chest, but was able to turn away. Bolins. Germano couldn't reel that in, and now it's Guest. Out wide. Suzuku Sakia read the pass well, and Avondale couldn't keep it in. You can see that every time Joe Guest gets on the ball, he gets quickly closed down. Now Pavlu. Now they try to work it, and the foul in midfield as Guest is fouled by now it's his set piece. Cross comes in. Headed over. White. And Rory Bryan does well to come out and collect. Possibly be a little slight injury problem as picking himself up was Liam Bolins. Rory Bryan has done well to command his area so far in this game. And he fires along into the channel. Yusuf Ahmed, what a pass that is by the goalkeeper. Ahmed trying to cut inside. It was well read. And now Pavlu gets it clear for Oakley. Rikabene. Ahmed lets it run. Now Bolin. Can he find his left foot? Little reverse pass. Yusuf Ahmed out wide. Saved by Honos. And Oakley get it clear. But another little warning sign there for Avondale on the Oakley goal. Just feel like that Oakley really have to get that opportunity just to slow the game down a little bit, get a bit of possession and get a foothold in this game because it's one-way traffic at the moment. Now Hillier. First time to Germano. He's got Rikabene out wide. First time cross. Ahmed couldn't reel it in. Tezuku Sakia wins it back. The Japanese maestro cross comes in. Govan away. And in the end, Pachkowski gets it clear. Falls into midfield again. Tezuku Sakia. And Hillier back to the goalkeeper. Once again, this patient build-up by Avondale. They've gotten the goal. You can take a little bit of time off the clock and pass it around. Try to wear out Oakley. Now Hillier. In the midfield, great pass, Jonathan Germano. And here go Avondale again, looking for Stefan Zini, and heavy touch from him. It's a great opportunity again for Avondale. Now Honos has rushed his pass out wide. It's quite a few senior statesmen in this Oakley Cannon side. You look at John Honos, who's been an excellent goalkeeper for such a long time, particularly at Oakley. Kind of think that it could. We have this conversation every year that it could be his last year, but he continues to keep on going and lining up in that Oakley goal.
I think this has been one of his best seasons. I don't recall too many. We all know John Honos can be something of an erratic goalkeeper at times, as Govan clears that one, but he's been very consistent this season. Very few errors, made a lot of great saves. I remember a couple of penalty saves he's made this season as well. I think he's getting better with age.
Almost 40 years of age now, Honos. You look at guys like Tavzan Kioglu and Tom Matthews, who've been such Great servants as Ricabene is into the box now. Nobody could touch him. Cuts it back. Honos makes the save. Zini back and Lundy into the dangerous area. No one could get a touch. And Avondale are close to doubling their advantage.
How does it stay out, Chris? I think it might have come off a combination of Honos and Hamish Miller on the line. How does it stay out? I don't know how you can get closer to scoring without actually putting the ball in the back of the net.
That's a great reflex save because, as you said, that deflection did happen pretty close to Honos. Had to adjust his body positioning. But it really is one-way traffic with Avondale at the moment. Trying to get back to grand final day and that chance of that first piece of major silverware for the Avengers. It's been well talked about their rise through the state leagues to NPL football and how they've adjusted. Now have this facility which they're building up, potential with a grandstand and lights and scoreboard structure has been built, so they're looking into invest in their infrastructure. Ricabene over the top, cut out by Govan. Pachkowski was quickly closed down, gets the foul.
Bit of an unnecessary one from Germano. He was going nowhere, but Pachkowski just slows down and forces the contact.
Seems a bit obvious to me so far that every time Oakley get the ball and try to counter, Avondale are quite happy to give that foul away, not allow them to play that ball over the top into the channels. As it goes forward now, last touch was off Decker and out for a goal kick.
It's a tactic favoured by many possession-heavy teams, not least of all Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. They love a tactical foul, so it's all part of the game.
Heidelberg did a really good job of that a couple of weeks ago when they did play Avondale here at Avenger Park. Tuzuku Suki, I think, was fouled 9 times in that game.
They weren't gentle ones either.
Got to love NPL football and the different tactics and styles, a bit of old school. Avondale go long for Bolins. Miller gets it away and out for a throw.
Keep an eye on the little positional swap between Katabian and Germano. Don't know if that one's temporary or permanent.
Zini can't keep it in play.
There's a lot of movement between an interchange between the midfielders of Avondale. See Ahmed and Zini swapping wings frequently. Bit of a rotating carousel midfield three, although Sakir looks pretty firmly planted at the base today, which isn't his usual role.
Avondale get the tackle in, but can't win the ball back. Must admit, it's not really a big crowd here on Saturday afternoon semi-final football. Oakley normally do provide quite a big crowd, as Joe Guest isn't happy that Advantage wasn't allowed to be played. Probably has a bit of a point as well.
It certainly pales in comparison to that Heidelberg game we called a couple of weeks ago, which virtually decided the premiership. It was 3 rows deep on all sides.
Long from Govan. Can they get the second ball here? In the end, Pachkowski heads it towards goal. That's easy for Brian to collect.
Showing some confidence there, the backup goalkeeper.
And once again, what about the delivery from the keeper? Yusuf Ahmed picked out a gang and he turns away from Matthews. Little slip allowed Matthews to get back goal side now. Jonathan Germano trying to get the cross in as they're calling for a corner or a throw. I believe the referee's now gone with the throw. As James Ricabene makes his way over. I did walk over that patch of grass at the start of the game. It is quite slippery where James Ricabene is going to be trying to throw the ball in. You can see he normally would go for a bigger run up and get a big throw into the box here. Goes over the top. Edge of the box. Here's Ahmed. Just tracked the shot. Goes out harmlessly for another goal kick. But what do Oakley have to do to try to get back in this game a little bit? At the moment, just the 1-0 down. It's probably a pretty good result for Oakley, considering of how dominant Avondale have been so far.
They'll certainly be counting their lucky stars that was saved on the line as Pashkowski goes through.
In the end, he couldn't take the ball in his possession. Shouts at a foul. Avondale get it clear. Katabian on the ball, and over the top here is Stefan Zini. Zini versus Rama. Rama with a sliding challenge, and he timed it to perfection.
Rarely see Ramazan Tafsansioglu lose a 1v1 challenge when he decides to go in for one. He doesn't leave anything to chance. Just to your earlier question, Chris, I think Joe Guest just needs to be involved so much more. He's not being tightly man-marked. He is there. There is space there. You know, they're marking zonally Avondale. Sakia, you can see him on his haunches here, actually, out just behind play. He's the man at the base of the midfield. I think you can target him defensively. He is a fantastic player, but I suspect, you know, he's not familiar with that role, so that's the route I'd be going. Get the ball to Joe Guest. Target those spaces in between the lines. These direct clearances out from the defence straight to Harry White, just not really doing it for them. It's not sticking. They need to get the ball to feet.
Well, here's a ball over the top. Boland goes first time. Did well to get it towards goal, but Honos well positioned and was able to collect. Over the top. White fights for it. Hillier wins the header, and again it's Avondale who pick up the second ball. Tuzuku Sakia. And now out wide to Brandon Lundy. In the midfield. Fighting for it is Pavlou. And the ball finds its way out to Zini again. Cuts inside. He's got 3 Oakley players around him. Shouts at a penalty. Waved away. Avondale bench are not happy about that. And the ball goes out. And in the end, it's quite a heated conversation. Very one way between Zocchi, Jonathan Barrero, the referee today. White looking for the header. Tuzuku Sakia away.
There's no question that there was heavy contact, but I can understand why Barrero hasn't given that one. Looked as if Valentini was already on the way down. He was off balance already. And Wade Decker was the player he predominantly collided with. He was standing his ground. So I think a good decision from the referee there. It did look suspicious because of the heavy collision, but I think the Oakley player wasn't actually at fault.
White fights for it on the ground as both players slipped over. You can see that this side of the ground, especially near the touchline, is quite slippery. The pitch as it's built now is only 5 metres behind that. On the fence line is a big retaining wall, so the water does get stuck here a little bit as Stefan Zini's got a shoulder problem at the moment. As the rain starts to come down here.
Certainly been in the thick of the action, Stefan Zini, early in this contest, as Avondale temporarily down to 10.
It's Pavlou. Matthews forward. Couldn't find Pachkowski. Get it clear, but at least Avondale been on the back foot a little bit the last 5 minutes as Oakley get the ball back through Blair Govan, who it's been an excellent signing since crossing over from Hume City. He was their captain for periods last year at Hume City and 2 years at Hume before making the move to Chris Taylor's Oakley. He's been able to provide a strong partnership there with Ramazan Tavzan Kiogju. And now it's Lundy. Boland flicks it on. Ahmed quickly snuffed out by Govan into the channel. Just can't keep the ball in play. As Harry White was looking to chase after that one. So as you can see on the far side of the ground, the umbrellas have gone up all in unison. And with this ground still being fairly newly constructed, there isn't much cover from the elements. In fact, Josh, you and me are probably got one of the better spots here in the scaffolding compared to the everyday punter on the other side of the ground.
I think I've got the best seat in the house, Chris. We're very well catered for with my impeded mobility today.
This ball goes out for goal kick. Of course, this is the first of 2 NPL Senior Final Series semi-finals. Heidelberg and Bentley will be battling it out at J.L. Murphy Reserve. Heidelberg's home away from home as Olympic Park's under construction. And that's 6 o'clock that game. Obviously on the live stream again on NPL Victoria. Gumano. Little push on him from Pavlu. Gives away the foul.
It's going to be interesting later today with Bentley. Their first game under new coach Nick Tolios in a semi-final. I've never seen anything like it. But what do you make of that appointment, Chris?
I think it's a no-brainer. I think Nick Tolios, what he's done with a Kingston side, as we stay with Oakley now, and the first time the guest to really be able to push forward, and he does get that foul. Tezuku Sakia nibbled at his heels before Gumano brought him down.
And the stage at which Jonathan Barrero chooses to book these midfielders for their repeated tactical fouls will be crucial to Oakley's success. You can understand why they're trying to put pressure on the referee. That was the first time that Joe Guest has actually been fed the ball to his feet in a transition scenario, and you saw Avondale already went into a bit of a panic. So that's exactly what we were talking about before, Chris. That's the service he needs.
Well, Oakley have been able to play these set pieces quite nicely so far. They are finding the header from these longer sort of directions, but
looks as if we're going to see a substitution here for Avondale. Stefan Valentini to replace Stefan Zini after that shoulder problem. It's up on the board anyway. We'll wait for confirmation.
Does Oakley want to take it? They do. Back post, Hilliard, Matthews. Big collision from them. Trying to get to the ball is Fashini. Gumano gets it out, and it goes out for an Oakley throw. And now that substitution can take place. Stefan Valentini, who really lost his spot regularly in this senior, in the starting lineup of Avondale after most of the season being in it, with the emergence of Yusuf Ahmed really taking that spot, and Stefan Zini having such a strong season as Oakley now throw it long into the box. Flicked on. It's going to fall kindly for Brian again. Just going back to your question about Nick Tolios, I think it's a no-brainer. He's one of the best young managers in the NPL. What he's done with Kingston, if you look at the budget that Kingston have compared to most sides and the injury problems he's had, firstly to get Kingston into the top flight and then to keep him there for 3 years, unfortunately, before getting relegated this year, who I must admit they had a couple of injury problems and had to replace him with state league players halfway through the season, made things very tough for Kingston. But we saw what they could do on the final day where they really put Hume City to the sword. He's one of the most attacking-minded managers, and he's sort of in that mould of John Anastasiadis, so I think it's a great appointment for Bentley, and we get to see if he can change things around as early as tonight. It's Pachkowski into the box. Lundy away. Rikabene Matthews gets it back. Flying through with a boot was Yusuf Ahmed. Pachkowski fires, and it stings the palms of Brian, but he's able to collect. Now Lundy looking to slow things down. Snow saw the last 5 to 10 minutes. Oakley are definitely getting back into this game a little bit more, Josh.
Absolutely they are. You've got to see a response before halftime from Oakley. That's what Chris Taylor will want. These players have worked so hard to turn their season around in spectacular fashion, and they want to be putting in a substandard performance in a semi-final.
Well, they've given the ball up this time, Oakley. Great little flick attempt there from Boland. It's cleared away. White will fight for it. Hilliel gets there first, and now Boland's got a chance to turn. Out wide, he's got Yusuf Ahmed sliding in Matthews. The studs were showing a little bit, and he will get the first yellow card here of this semi-final.
Straight on top of things, Jonathan Barrero again, as you'd expect from an A-League calibre referee. Correct decision. Studs were showing from Tom Matthews. He kept his foot pretty low, but so no chance of anything more severe, but I think a yellow card very much appropriate.
Now Tezuku Sakia. It's going to be left for James Rikabene with the left footer. False start. Tezuku Sakia takes it off him, looking for Boland, and the ball's flicked on at the back post. Hillier again, and this time he can't direct it goalward. Little clipped effort. We've seen that quite a bit in the NPL this year where the set-piece taker has sort of stuttered and faked that he was going to take it and trying to catch the defences off guard. You know, Stephen Hewitt at Hume City does that every single time he takes a set-piece. As the ball goes long, White with the header. Flicked on. Ball up over the top. Smith Pachkowski's having a little bit more of a impact since he swapped wings with Wade Decker the last 5-10 minutes. Suzuku Sakia quickly marshalling Joe Guest, and Ahmed's clearance doesn't go too far. Now it's away with Katabian. Tazan Chioglu in midfield. It's going to bounce, and that'll allow Miller to win that header. Suzuku Sakia again with the second ball up in the air. Miller. It's a hard one for players to control, and Pavlu just clears it in the middle. Sukia away. The ball finds its way to Boland, and now they can run forward, and charging forward was Katabian, and it's going to be another yellow card, this time Tazan Chioglu.
For all we talk about them as a possession team, Avondale are as capable as anyone of turning things on in transition. They do have pace, and two members of the Oakley backline booked already. It's going to make things tough for them in the second half.
If you look at the bench of Oakley as well too, most of their strength is in the attacking players with Goran Zoric and Milos Luic on attack, and not as much senior defensive cover Oakley on the bench. If you look at guys of Dimitrakis and Jamriska, it's going to be Boland. Fires it up from long distance. It's always difficult when it bounces in front of the keeper. Ball's cut back. Nobody there for the tap in. Honos spilt it. Probably should have harried it around for a corner. Tried to handle it himself, and Gumano's little cut back just agonisingly didn't find a blue shirt.
Valentini was very quick to respond to the loose ball there. Honos spilling a very powerful shot from Boland, which I suspect was moving considerably. He does like to hit the ball in that sweet spot and see what it can do.
Now ball forward. Zanchioglu away. Hilio's done a good job in that battle between him and White today. Boland's has given the foul away. Oakley want to try to move it quickly and quickly slowed down. Just don't feel that Oakley are getting enough out of their fullbacks in this game in an attacking sense, where you see Lundy and Ricky Bene really pushing on and overlapping out wide. Matthews and Miller haven't had the opportunity to do that so far. It's for Sheeny and Pavlu. Now Guest trying to turn away Lundy with a great challenge in. Avondale try to run away with it. Suzuku Sakia deflected wide. Gumano away into the channel. Blair Govan gets there first. Now Honos. Out wide, it's three Avondale players there. Lundy hits it back in the middle. Gumano can't find a teammate. So we're getting closer and closer to half-time here at Avenger Park. Just a few minutes before stoppage time. Is there a chance here for Oakley? Now Guest. For Sheeny. Back post delivery looking for Decker. Can he keep it in? He can't. And it goes out for a goal kick, but the referee's going to have a chat to a few players as Guest was clipped a little bit late again.
Oakley bench can't believe it.
At the moment it is 2 yellow cards to Oakley, none to Avondale. But it is quite evident that every time Joe Guest gets goal side, they're just quite happy to bring him down. He's had a couple of challenges on him, which would be pretty close to yellow cards. Now Rory Bryan in the midfield. Decker gets it forward. Here's Harry White. Rickett Bene with a great sliding challenge. Avondale get it back. Now they like to try to move it quickly through midfield. Katabian, ball cut out, but he gets it back. Lundy. Another good challenge. Will it stay in for Oakley? And the sliding challenge from Ricabene, and he will be the first Avondale man into the book.
He's claiming he got the ball. He might have got a slight touch. I don't think it was enough to please the referee. Or enough to stop it from being a foul. He did fly in there, Phil Ricabene.
As Panchkowski is on his haunches. And once again, where it looks like Oakley are going to break away, just a real smart foul in the end. I know he's gotten the yellow card, and I know it was a pretty full-blooded challenge, but once again, that counter-attack of Oakley has been stopped. So, it is Phil Ricabene in the book. Pashkowski on set-piece duties again. Long ball in. Brian's got to try to collect this, and he gets it unopposed. Chris Taylor will be pretty disappointed by that, and he almost stepped out of his box then by trying to push a player away. That would have been quite bizarre.
That would have made it into the blooper reel if Tempers has got the better of his sense of direction.
Chris Taylor was quite disappointed that Brian was able to collect that unchallenged. He's not one of the tallest goalkeepers, so if you look at a guy like Harry White challenging him in the air, probably could be able to head it away before Brian was able to jump up and reach it with his hands. So you can understand Chris Taylor's frustration with that. As the rain has sort of stopped here at Avenger Park, but the wind is howling around a little bit. There's a long throw, doesn't find any real direction. As the fourth official's getting close to putting out the board for stoppage time. It goes up now. It will be 2 minutes. So 2 minutes of stoppage time here in the first half of the first semi-final. Gumano. Oakley try to get it back. Phil Ricabene away. Pavlou trying to control it. In the end, the ball's won back by Avondale, and here's Katabian out wide. Yusuf Ahmed. We saw a wonderful goal he scored the last time these two played. Trying to bring it forward. It's well cut out by Oakley, and now they can move it forward. Pavlou. Ahmed comes across, and well, I'm not sure about that. I thought he got a bit of the ball coming in from the side, but gives the foul away. Maybe Tazan Chioglu. Another chance for Oakley to be able to play this ball long. And that's exactly what he does, but the smallest guy there, Tezuka Sakia, heads it away. Pavlou around the corner. Ball finds him again. Pashkowski with a turn. Gumano gets the ball. And now Hillier. Thought that Yusuf Ahmed was making that run, but in the end it's only Matthews who gets the ball.
Ahmed was certainly being encouraged to by his coach, but he's still recovering from the effects of that earlier challenge he was a part of.
Now Pavlou and Guest. Once again he's fouled. And just a little bit of an angry look back at the referee. Oakley again go long. White flicks it on. In fact, it was Pachkowski looking for White. And in the end, the referee's going to blow full time here as the first blow for half time, as I should say, Josh. It's not full time yet. It is half time here at Avenger Park. It's a little bit of push and shove, a bit of feeling in this game, as you'd expect. But it is Avondale through Scott Hillier with Avondale's first corner of the game. Boland flicked it on. Hillier was there from close range, directing it towards goal. So that's the way it is here at halftime. Oakley definitely got back into the game as the half wore on, but Avondale probably well deserved their 1-0 lead.
Totally agree. I think Avondale have come out with a game plan They've played it to perfection. The goal coming from a set piece, maybe not the most typical, but they've dominated proceedings here, and Oakley need to find an answer. I think that answer could be provided through Goran Zoric on the bench. It seems as if Oakley almost playing a stereotype version of themselves, lacking a bit of the subtlety that they usually bring. You know, they are a counter-attacking team. They are a long ball team sometimes. They do play physically, but they also have a lot more music between the notes on many occasions where I've seen them. Wade Decker usually getting involved between the lines. I think Zoric could be the player to bring that out in the second half, but we'll wait and see what Chris Taylor decides.
And we're just going to have a short break here. It is half-time in the first of the two Senal semi-finals here today. It is Avondale 1, Oakley 0. Hello everybody and welcome back here for the second half getting ready to start. It is Avondale versus Oakley, and it is Avondale who took the lead in this game through Scott Hillier. It was Liam Boland who flicked the ball on at the near post from Avondale's first corner of this game, and in the right spot at the right time was Hillier to direct it goalward. And it's Avondale who held on to that lead and looked the more comfortable of the two sides as the second half kicks off. My name is Chris Gleeson and welcome back to the commentary, Josh Parrish.
Chris, it's been really intriguing first half. Oakley with it all to do. Avondale rung the changes. The game plans worked. They've been forced into a substitution through injury, but they've barely missed a step, and it's all on Oakley, really, the impetus.
We wait to see what sort of things Oakley trying to do to change the direction of the game. After about the half an hour mark, they started to get into the game a little bit more, got a bit more possession in the game, but never really testing Avondale's goalkeeper, Rory Bryan, in that first half.
I do wonder when they will decide to take the risk and start trying to play through the lines a bit more. You saw another direct ball from Blair Govan up to Harry White, and they've tried that how many times in this game? It hasn't come off.
They might have the opportunity now as the ball gets into the box. Bryan's well out of position there, and lucky he was able to make some sort of a block. And in the end, the ball spins out and it will be a corner. In fact, it's out for a goal kick.
A bit of a touch-and-go moment for Avondale. They're out of absolutely nothing. I guess the philosophy for Oakley at this point is stay in the game, keep it at 1-0, and don't take too many risks. Don't overexpose yourself too early and rule yourself out of the contest. 2-0 would probably do this game. I mean, you never say never in NPL, of course, but...
And in the end, the referee's going to give a very early card for time wasting to Rory Bryan, which he was pretty quick onto that to the referee. Not sure he really was trying to waste time this early in the game, but in the end, it's another yellow card.
It's a bit ironic considering John Honnis is the one who's notorious for the time he takes over his goal kicks.
It's a very important art of goalkeepers in the NPL. There's no ball boys around. You can take your time over those goal kicks. As Tezuku Sakia plays it forward. Little hold on there from Lundy gives away the foul. Once again, Govan wants to get onto that left foot and play those big long balls forward. White can't flick it on. The ball bounces through off his line. This time in the right position was Rory Bryan. And now the ball comes out.
How many times have we seen that ball float over Harry White's head today?
Especially now where it seems like the wind is going towards the Oakley goal here in the second half. So we saw in the first half those balls were holding up a little bit more. Blair Govan, I must admit, he's one of the best of those big crossfield balls. He made the most of that big pitch at ABD Stadium for a couple of years. Ball flicked on, shouts for a handball, but it looks like the offside flag has gone up.
I would say his delivery, both in open play and from those deep set pieces, has been a little bit below his usual par today. It's one of the reasons Oakley haven't been able to feast on too many second balls, because there hasn't been any second balls to fight for.
As Bryan goes long. It's over Boland's head. Tazan Chioglu in the midfield, but this is where Avondale have done well, picking up those second balls. As Lundy turns out of trouble.
Off the ball collision between Valentini and Pashkowski, but play goes on.
And now into the channel. Valentini couldn't take it with the first touch. Govan heads it away, but Valentini just tries to get it towards the box, and it's Honos. First time ball over the top. White's got to chase after this, and as goalkeeper passes the goalkeeper, Bryan will throw it back into play. As you said, the Oakley radar with those balls over the top, just not adjusting to the wind, but this is a good pass for Katabian. Bowling into the box, cuts it back. Gumano, we know how good he is from this range, tries to curl it. Honos watches it go over the top.
I think that one was begging for a first-time shot rather than the little golf chip. He does love a curler, though, Gumano, as he showed at this very venue just a few weeks ago.
The ball's able to bounce. White flicks it on. Guest can't win it. Tezuku with him every step of the way in this game so far. Now Pachkowski trying to use a bit of skill and strength and plays it up the line, but Rikabene and Lundy should be able to mop up and clear. Ball spins into the path of Boland. Great first touch, Katabian. Ball slightly behind Ahmed, but was able to reel it in. Now Katabian will switch it out to the other side this time. Boland. First touch. Ball's won back by Miller. So the game's opening up just a little bit more. Decker disappointed he couldn't reel that one in. Now Brian again, but a bit more of a fast start for the second half, Josh.
Certainly, I think we're seeing Boland getting involved in the play a lot. He loves to play that hold-up role, little first-time passes off to his on-rushing midfielders.
Valentini's run inside, allowed the space for Lundy to cross to Boland. Oh, you would have put your house on him, Liam Boland, from that range.
That is silver service delivery from Brandon Lundy. The Avondale bench were already celebrating. They thought the net was about to ripple. I did too. Boland buries that one 9 times out of 10. Could have come back to haunt him later in this game.
It was all made from that run from Valentini, who made that run in between the fullback and the centre-back. So Miller had to track that run, allowed the space for Lundy, and what a delivery. One of the best fullbacks in the NPL was Brandon Lundy since coming down from Apia. Him and Tezuku Sake have really taken NPL Victoria by storm this year. Both Apia boys.
Interested to see the combination on the right-hand side now between the two best mates in the Avondale squad, Lundy and Valentini. The class clowns, by all accounts, in the dressing room.
Well, you've got to have a few clowns in that dressing room. The ball's long. Ball flicked on, and Decker tried to get on the end of it, but Brian once again does what he needs to do. It's been a solid afternoon in goal. He hasn't had many real shots to protect his goal with, but everything he's had to deal with in the air, he's done a good job so far. This Katabian can't find Boland.
Speaking of the off-the-field chemistry, I mean, everyone I've spoken to has absolutely raved about the Avondale dressing room this season, the characters they've got in there. Always upbeat, even when they have faced adversity this season, as things didn't really go to plan in the second half of the campaign. But I mean, I know you don't have to be best mates with your teammates, but I think it does help a little bit with the chemistry on the field, and it's one of the reasons I'm encouraging the introduction of Goran Zoric into this contest. He and Wade Decker have an almost telepathic connection on the park.
As Boland tried to find Valentini, gets the throw, but he's definitely one of the aces that Oakley have up their sleeve. Him and Milos Luic, you think, could be the ones to try to change the game. But you look at the Avondale bench, Beverly, Jacoby can be those a bit more defensive cover if needed as this game gets closer towards the 90 minutes. Also, Yute Towns can do a job in many positions, but I reckon he's an excellent defensive midfielder.
Would be a very sturdy option to bring off the bench. I mean, what luxury. I don't think any other team in the NPL would ever be benching Yute Towns. He does offer that little bit more defensive cover, so if they do decide to protect what they have, maybe at the 70, 80 minute mark, would be a very savvy introduction.
Well, Avondale with this corner set up the exact same way. Look at all the numbers that are in the goal. Just at the near post. You know that Boland's going to be the target to try to flick it on. In fact, they go back to Tezuku Sakeya to fire, and he's made a mess of that one. Ball in the channel. Decker versus Rikabene. Rikabene first to it. Finds his brother. So Phil to James, and now back. And Lundy.
He's trying to get Tezuku Sakeya involved with the attack for once. He's a fish out of water in defensive midfield. He's perfectly competent playing that role, but I'm sure he loves to get further up the park.
Oh, and he was sort of expecting a little clip on the heels then, but in the end his pass goes back. Now Brian. And now over the top. Govan should have been able to kill that ball and allows Avondale to get back on the attack. Ahmed shouts for handball. It was in between the arm and the shoulder, and referee well positioned to adjudge that it was a handball.
Pretty identical to the Harry White call in the first half, so consistency in interpretation.
Now over the top. Tezuku Sakeya misses the header then, and his guest gets it away. Matthews versus Katabian. Referee says play on. Everyone stopped, expecting the high boot. Can Avondale make Oakley pay? Gumano space forward. And now Katabian as Boland and Valentini get in the box. Going forward is Katabian, cuts it back. And coming back was Pavlu to get it out for a corner.
Still so good on the transition defence, Oakley, but I mean, it's rule number 1 under sixes. Play the whistle.
The referee had his hands up, expecting, well, boys, what do you want me to play? Well, to me, it was two players who had their feet up quite high, and referees just allowed them both to, with no damage done, just to keep going. Now, Avondale with his other corner. Again, players in the goal line at the near post, and Boland is waiting for the header. It's in towards Boland. Headed away by Govan. Tezuku Sakia will get it back. In fact, he's just going to allow the ball to run out for a throw. There's just no rush in this Avondale side.
Joey Katabian was in even more space than Sakia was when they tried that earlier cutback routine. Maybe reticent to do it again after it failed spectacularly last time out. But he does have a pure, brutal hit on him if he does have the opportunity to strike a ball, as does Ahmed.
He's forced wide. Lundy, we saw his cross last time. This is just as good. Back post. Boland trying to keep it back across the 6-yard box, but Honos collects and looks for wide in the channel. Hillier gets the header. It will go out for a throw. Oakley will be quite happy to get that high up on the pitch with that one, though.
What a stellar job Scott Hillier has done so far today, marshalling that Avondale backline. He's stepped up in the absence of the likes of Matt Reid, Charlie Beverley on the bench, another big body. He's had to be the physical presence in there, and he's done so brilliantly.
Well, it's Pavlu, edge of the box. Decker behind the teammate he wanted in Fashini. Guest, chance to create, fires it across. Decker now, one of the rare occasions Oakley get to pass the ball in the final third in this game, and they can't find the pass to Decker as Avondale scrambled well to get it out for a throw.
Certainly more encouraging play from Oakley, though, even if it didn't lead to anything.
Pachkowski. Ball goes back, and the referee's going to give it an Avengers throw. Mr. Pachkowski had to try to work the cross in there. He had numbers in the box, and even if he didn't get it in, just try to get that corner. Headed away by Miller. Guest. It's again 3 Avengers around him, and Tezuku Sakia leads the attack for Avondale and puts it into the path of Yusuf Ahmed. Trouble here for Matthews. It's Ahmed, and with the left foot he flashes it wide.
Chances are really racking up now for Avondale. They're going to want to make the most of some of these to get a comfortable lead, but just the athleticism of Yusuf Ahmed, it gives you the luxury, if you're Sakia, to spray that pass with such venom on it, so there's no chance Tom Matthews is going to get a touch. He's got those long legs. He can reach pretty much anything in his vicinity. Just drags it wide in the end.
Well, Hillier again commanded the ball in the air. Oakley fight to get it back. Pavlu. And now Miller. It's all very tight here for Oakley, and in the end they get it back with Pachkowski, get the foul, but I've been so impressed by Yusuf Ahmed this year. I think he could be absolutely everything. He's still quite young, still a bit raw, but you see all the skills and the trickery he's got and the work rate. He's a really excellent player, and one that could really have a strong professional career even in the A-League.
He is lightning quick as well. Those long strides make up ground deceptively quickly, and he scored the best goal I've seen this season against Oakley, in fact, last time out. Ended in a loss, but I have rarely seen a ball move like that from distance. It started about 2 metres above the bar and dipped into the top corner.
Pavlu did well to win the ball back, but Miller's pass couldn't find a teammate. Now it's Oakley again, trying to break down this stubborn Avondale attack. And Joe Guest is now letting the referee know that's 4 times Tezuku Sakai has fouled me. So
I can't understand why Oakley are upset here. The fouls on Guest are racking up.
Well, it's going to be Pachkowski with the set piece. He's been a little bit lucky there, Tezuku Suke, with that persistent fouling, but he gets away with it again. But it opens up the Cannons with his set piece. Patskowski, back post, shouts for a penalty, waved away. Well, Harry White's disappointed with that. He was trying to stoop with the header. It must have been, it was a bit difficult to see exactly how much contact was on him from where we were, but pretty strong shouts from Oakley, waved away by the referee.
Some absolute massive bodies in there. I don't envy the referee trying to pick a foul or otherwise out of that one.
Let's see, Rory Bryan's pretty quick to get back in the 6-yard box to take this goal kick as he's already been booked by the referee. Boland's, good header. Now Yusuf Ahmed again. Coming across is Tazan Chioglu, who seems to make these challenges, as you said, Josh, in the first half against the real quick wingers. He still shows all that experience and his timing. Now Govan, this is what he likes to do. The long ball over the top. It's going to bounce and go out. As Harry White was unable to flick it on to Decker.
Just having another look back at the replay, Chris, there may well have been hands on Harry White. Bit of a controversial moment. Of course, it's always down to interpretation, how much wrestling you do allow from the set piece. But he certainly was impeded to some degree.
It's very strong shouts from that Oakley bench.
Very difficult to catch on first viewing, as we failed to.
As James Rigobene gets a mulligan after his first throw went straight out of play this time. Boland's, Govan just over the top. Who can win the ball here? It's going to fall into midfield. Gumano heads it into the path, and now here go Avondale again. Katabian looking for Valentini. Well cut out by Miller. Now Govan. Sliding challenge from Katabian. No foul given. Tezuku Sakia gets the advantage. The Cannons bench is all up in arms at the moment. I thought Katabian definitely seemed to catch Govan late. Now Tezuku Sukiya. Edge of the box. Still going Sukiya. Govan wins the ball, and now it's Guest. Again looking to drive it forward. Again he's fouled. This time by Katabian. Well, it's pretty obvious the tactics that Avondale are employing, and they're getting away with it, Josh.
They are. I can't believe it. There's been so many transition fouls. And now there will be a booking, but only to the Oakley bench.
And the frustration is boiling over.
There has to be a yellow ticket soon, I'm sure, for one of these Avondale midfielders. They keep pulling back Guest in transition and really robbing Oakley of their only convincing outlet that they've displayed today.
Ball cleared. Out for a throw as the ball may have found its way into the apartment complex at the back of this grounds. Here we are at the Reggio Calabria Club, who I believe it was Essendon Royals played out of this ground in the VPL in the mid-2000s. It's changed a lot since then. Avondale moving from Dawes Street, which really wasn't up to NPL standards, to try to make this their new home. Now it's Ahmed. Tazan Chioglu cuts it out. Now Guest. Well run by Gumano, but Oakley retain the ball. Rikabene. Sukiya. And he's fouled by Pavlu. Katabian is the first one in there. It will be a yellow card to Pavlu. And they may have seen one to Katabian as well. He did flow that yellow card up in the air pretty quickly. So it's another yellow card to Oakley. So Tezuku Suki is going to get...
He was caught late there. There were studs showing. I mean, it's one of those where both players go in 100% and the player who's second to the contest is going to get a booking. It's just almost inevitable with a 50-50 like that. It is dangerous, but both sets of players giving 100%. And just looking around the grounds, there is, of course, a lot of football going on, especially in the second tier. Simultaneous kickoffs on the last day of the NPL 2 regular season today. And as it stands, Moreland Zebras will be the ones gaining automatic promotion to the NPL for next season. They lead 1-0 against Wilsey Rangers St Albans. Shockingly, down 1-0 at home to the Melbourne Victory youth side, who've really struggled this campaign and are facing relegation to the new NPL 3 in the restructure. So major movements in the NPL 2 table as this game goes on.
And as expected, Eastern Lions will be booking their spot in NPL Victoria.
It's currently 0-0 between Langwarrin and Eastern Lions now, with Eastern Lions pretty much secure in their promotion.
And as it stands now, it will be Bulleen and St Albans if those games end the same way in that little playoff. They'll be played midweek. Cross comes in. Here's Valentini. Valentini gets the goal for Avondale. And that second goal now for the Avengers is probably going to see them into the grand final. Oakley just really haven't had any match in an attacking sense against the Avengers. And Stefan Valentini was there in the right spot and buried the header from close range.
Well, it's the two great mates who combine. Brandon Lundy, Stefan Valentini, the connection. It's paid off. Absolute silver service again from Lundy. He's laid out the white tablecloths with that delivery from the right-hand side. A beautiful cross earlier in the contest to Boland, which was headed just wide. This time there was no missing from that kind of range. What a delivery. And Valentini making up for his 1-1 miss against Heidelberg, which was very costly in that game. Scoring the crucial goal to perhaps seal passage to the big dance.
Valentini, he did come on as a substitute in this game with the injury. The cross comes in. Oakley trying to get the goal back straight away, and the header goes wide by Decker.
Probably the best chance Oakley have had all game.
It was a good ball in, and he's just couldn't manage to head it into the corner.
We'll have another substitution here. Yite Towns to be introduced. As we mentioned, maybe give that midfield a little bit more cover.
So Yite Towns, who must have been many thought that he might have been a bit unlucky not to start in this game. You see with the attackers that they do have on the pitch, it is Yusuf Ahmed who's had another excellent game for Avondale, making way. You think Towns would go into midfield and maybe Suzuku Sakeya pushed a little bit more forward in front. And it looks like Katabian's going to go out wide. Sakeya. And Brian clears. Govan and Boland. Valentini back, and now it's Boland again. Looking to roll his defender. Heavy touch, but still was able to get the rebound. Liam Boland leading the line with strength and poise, and he tries to flick it over the top to Valentini. Lundy again. Out wide, it's a poor pass, and Miller. All he can do is clear it. Riccobene, now Towns. Keeps it simple with his first touch of the game.
Looks like they've gone to 2 6s here, a bit more of a 4-2-3-1.
Looks like Germano is the one who's been pushed more forward. And now it's James Riccobene looking to drive it forward. Tozan Chioglu was held onto and gets the foul.
It's almost the Virgil van Dijk of the NPL. Never gets dribbled past Ramazan Tavsan-Cioglu, and if he does, you know you're coming down with him.
Oakley get the second ball, but they can't head it in the direction of Guest. It's just this real lack of ideas in this Oakley lineup today. I know Avondale is such a strong defensive side and very hard to break down, but they've used the same tactics throughout the whole game, and Scott Hillier has been really strong in denying Harry White and Pachkowski winning those headers. This time Matthews, second ball again with Avondale. Towns can't find the right pass. The rebound finds Germano. And now Katabian. And in the end, the foul's been given. Tozan Chioglu I believe, has already been booked, so the referee doesn't look like he's going to go for the second yellow, Josh.
Not just yet. The amount of tackles that Avondale have gone away with in a more tactical sense, I don't think they can be really complaining that the rub of the green hasn't gone their way today with the officiating. If I were on that Oakley bench, I'd be encouraging Zorich for Hamish Miller. I think Pashkowski to left back would be the move here. You're 2-0 down, you've got to take a risk. Pashkowski can play there. He's a much more attacking option at left back. He's got a left foot, which Hamish Miller, for all his great defensive qualities, does not have. So it's another delivery into the box. And we all know the veteran playmaker, Goran Zorich, has a little bit of that creativity and vision. So they need something different. They need to mix it up. The formula just isn't working, and the season's on the line.
Exactly. Now getting a few substitutes. I think Goran Zorich is the one who's getting prepared, so you're going to get that wish, Josh. And at the moment, they've got to defend this corner, Oakley, as James Rickett-Benet comes in towards Boland. Tazan Chioglu headed it away. Valentini. In the end, he's just trodden on the ball, and it sees it out for the Oakley throw. They want to take it quickly. Hillier once again just gets it into the crowd. So Avondale are looking very likely to book themselves a spot in the grand final at Amy Park. Lundy again. Boland turns. Now he needs support. Tezuku Sakia wasn't there. Gumano looking for Towns, and Honos will collect. And he goes quickly. Once again, Hillier cushions it. Tezuku Sakia shouts for a handball, and I think that was well paid by the referee.
It's like we're going to see two changes here from Oakley. They are going to mix it up.
Jamriska is the other one. So it will be Goran Zorich and Jamriska. Wade Decker has had a pretty good season for Oakley, just hasn't been his game today. As you can see, he's a little bit disappointed coming off. Ramazan Tavjan Chioglu is going to make way. He's already on that yellow card. Could have been 2 yellow cards with that challenge not too far ago. And in the end, well, the referees allowed that free kick to be taken very quick, even before the Oakley players were able to get on the pitch properly. So
came to nothing. I guess they won't be complaining.
Now Honos. Game goes long. It's going to fall a little bit short. Miller into the channel again. It's a little bit ill-directed. Tezuku Sakia has just mopped up second balls all game. Boland's. Towns. And Avondale look to just keep onto the ball for the moment. Jamriska's now moved into what possibly could be a back three at the moment. Oakley will look to try to change things. Rickett-Benet. Good ball through. Valentini. Jamriska's got to make a challenge early since coming on, and he's done well. Matthews away. Pavlu's got to have a bit of time on the ball now. Oakley can't find the right pass. And Towns turns away. Jamriska going up to the task. See, Josh, that just those ill-directed balls from Oakley going forward.
It's just been the story of the day, hasn't it? I mean, I have got my wish. I've been banging on about it all game. Goran Zorich on the park, but we don't get to see that Decker-Zorich connection. Pashkowski's still in the front line rather than move to attacking fullback role, which is what I would have preferred to see, but I am encouraged by Dominic Jamriska getting some minutes. Only 19 years of age. He made his debut this season in the FFA Cup. There's not too much depth in the Oakley squad beyond the two senior options of Zorich and Lujic on the bench, in all truth.
Well, now it's Pavlu. Well, the really trump card they got up their sleeve is Milos Lujic. Oakley get it back with Govan. And Jamriska.
It's been a bit of a down year for Milos Lujic. It's probably an understatement, but you know, he's Still roll back the years on occasion. He does have 3 goals this season, including a virtuoso performance against Dandenong City, I think it was, scoring a brace. So if there is a loose ball to fall in the box late on in the contest, you want Milos Lujic in there, and I think he will see minutes in this game eventually.
Now it's Oakley. Everyone back behind the ball for Avondale. A crossfield ball will find its way through. Now Zoric. Chance for him to fire it in low, looking for guest to Zuku Sakia. Once again has worn him like a glove for the whole game. It's been a terrific performance from the Japanese maestro. Ball over the top. Kabene. And Rikabene. Could have been a push in the back there. The referee has given it.
Maestro is the word, isn't it? He's certainly my red-hot favourite for the Senile Gold Medal, which is being decided this Thursday, I believe. Moved to the Hyatt in Essendon after some flooding in the Docklands.
There's a pretty weird story on the pier there where people are having their meal, I think last week, and being told that everyone had to evacuate the pier. It's also playing a bit of havoc, but the Hyatt in Essendon will be the venue for the gold medal, which always shapes up to be a good night. Boland over the top. And now out wide with Lundy.
It's just gorgeous from Sakia there. The way he's able to turn out of trouble. It's just such a great play to watch.
Now, Avondale, all they have to do is just hold on to possession for big chunks of these final 13 or so minutes plus stoppage time. They've really shut out Oakley. Only that Decker chance just after Valentini scored the second has really tested this Avondale defence. Possibly they can do this now if Zoric can keep it in. Well, he couldn't, but he's prevented the goal kick to try to keep Avondale in the corner.
And we will see the big man, Milos Lujic, introduced very shortly.
Well, Chris Taylor has turned to his trump card. What an excellent partnership that they had in those years where South Melbourne were winning trophies after trophy. Lujic golden boot after golden boot. The man for the big occasion is going to enter the fray. And it's going to be a defender, Tom Matthews, sacrificed.
Perhaps we will see more of a back three now in earnest, with Matthews replaced the captain.
And Scott Hillier's 10th minute goal and Stefan Valentini's 66th minute goal, separating the two sides. Avondale look very likely to be heading back to Amy Park. We've got Heidelberg and Bentley at JL Murphy Reserve at 6 o'clock tonight. The second semi-final. But can Oakley just sort of pinch a goal back to try to give us a grandstand finish? Over the top. Lujic just got past him and out for a goal kick as Lundy's on his haunches for the moment.
Just an update from the NPL 2 fixtures. St Albans has turned that deficit on its head. They're leading 2-1 against Melbourne Victory. So they now sit in the automatic promotion place.
I looked for a long time that Moreland Zebras were going to do it, but a couple of shaky results in recent weeks have opened the door up for St Albans to overtake them, and it really is out of Moreland's hands. No matter what result they get, if St Albans better it, they'll be automatically promoted.
And the playoff structure is very difficult for the NPL2 side to get promoted.
Well, here's a mistake at the back. Lujic trying to find a teammate. Tezuku Sakia, as always, comes back. No foul. Ball forward. And then Towns gives away the foul. Once again, the Oakley bench is quite unhappy. Must admit, I can sort of agree with them. There's been quite a few of those fouls in dangerous areas where In most games, you'll probably do see a yellow card for things like that. It's going to open up a big moment here for Joe Guest. Can he sort of claw his side back into the contest? It is Guest. Took a deflection. They'll get the corner.
A lot of height in that Avondale wall, particularly Liam Boland. It was difficult for the left footer to beat it. I thought he might go direct and go on the outside of the wall, but they have won the set piece.
And here's Pashkowski. His delivery's been pretty good today. It's going to swing to the back post. Lewich couldn't get the header towards goal. Brian comes out. It will be another corner. As Brian's holding his knee. The referee's going to stop the game for the moment. Govan helps him up. It's brave goalkeeping. Now he's going to have to defend it again. Cross comes in, near post. Brian gets a punch away. Tuzuku Sakia away. Now Miller. Many numbers are forward for Oakley still, but that is a very poor pass. And now it's going to be Towns. Avondale do have the break on. Valentini in the corner. And Riska, well defended, gets it back. Pavlu trying to clear it. Ball goes out. Oakley get the throw.
Another defensive change being prepared here. Charlie Beverley will replace Jonathan Gamano.
Just when Oakley wanted to take that throw really quickly. The substitution was already being called out for before that ball went out, so Charlie Beverley will come into defence, and it looks like Katabian's going to be, well, he's just going to get some direction from the bench. Jonathan Gamano, another strong game from him, the experienced midfielder with professional football experience. He's been a great servant. It's been a slow start to the year from him with quite a few injuries, but he's really been quite strong, particularly the last month as Jonathan Gamano. Now Oakley throw it in, Katabian. Used all his neck muscles to really head that ball as far away as he could.
Just a word on the substitute for Avondale. He almost gave the game up recently. He had several serious knee injuries in a row, but he has got back to action this season. It's just great to see him back out on the park.
On the edge of the box for Sheeny. Shouts for handball. Again waved away. Guest fires it in low. Good block. And Avondale get it clear. Once again, Oakley are unhappy, as you sort of expect. They're so desperate to get back into this game. Bit of a pinball in the box then. Oakley throw it long. And again, Avondale just clear it. Miller. Ball will bounce. Almost got over Lundy then, was able to head it forward. Goes out wide, Zoric. Good bit of skill. Gets past Lundy, into the path of Guest. Ball was won. Zoric back into the box. Avondale away now. Pavlu. Tuzuku Sakia. And the ball's going to find its way out wide. Miller to Honos. Look at all the numbers forward. Look at those white shirts.
Look at the switch to 5 in the back for Avondale now. I thought Phil Riccobene, that is, would step into midfield as a result, but it looks like they've gone to 5-4-1.
They know what's happening. It's just going to be long balls to these big attackers of Oakley, as they've done throughout the whole game. Now it's Boland. Can he hold it up for Avondale? Good turn from him. And now Katabian. Verse Miller. Trying to cut back inside. Towns was forward, couldn't get the ball there. Now Pavlu and Guest. Zoric over the top. Riccobene away, and now Lundy. And so far, Avondale, as they've done all game, have been able to keep Oakley at bay. It really was the misfiring Cannons who created plenty of opportunities early in the season. They weren't able to finish their work, but at the moment, they're not even getting the chance to fire at this goal. Now it's Zoric. Flat cross comes in, flicked header over the top, and it goes wide. There's another headed opportunity there for Oakley.
It's as close as they've come. Milos Lujic with the flick. Goran Zoric allowed too much space to turn and deliver that ball. He's got a great right foot, a great footballing brain. He was able to pick out his fellow substitute and just inches away from the top right-hand corner.
Not a huge amount of time to go. It seemed since the 66th minute when Stefan Valentini doubled Avondale's lead that it was very likely that it would see them through, as it's a bit of a head knock here. Referee has to stop the game. You've got three players in Govan, Miller,
and Valentini, who looks the worst off. Medical team being called on.
Take no risks with knocks like that. Very brave from all the players.
Of course, they've used all their substitutes now, Avondale, so they won't be able to replace Valentini if he's unfit to continue. Could be 11 v 10 for the last few minutes of this contest.
He's getting quite a bit of attention. He hasn't moved a huge amount for the moment, but it's great that now he picks himself up.
He seemed alert and aware when he was on the ground. Didn't look like he lost consciousness or anything. I'm, of course, no medical expert, but
it's good he's able to jog to the sidelines, and I'm sure he'll be able to make his way back onto the field. And Govan. Avondale aren't happy. They did have the ball and the ball dropped, so referees allowed Oakley just to play it, and in the end Avondale do get the throw. It's Boland and Govan not happy about it. Well, it's funny how little things like that can frustrate him. It's going to be a yellow card to Boland.
didn't see what was the cause of the flare-up.
And both former teammates. Well, Zocchi's going to have to get a yellow card for his abuse there towards Blair Govan. But in the end, this just plays into Avondale's favour, just slowing the game on. It's going to be added on in stoppage time, but it's an opportunity just to slow the game down. Many stoppages. And now we're ready to play some football again, Josh.
I encourage the Avondale players to keep their tempers in check now. They've just got the finish line in sight. Don't want to rule yourself out of a grand final decider with a silly red card.
Well, the referee's over all the linesmen. It is an Oakley throw. Cleared away. Guest. Zoric. Almost left it a little bit too short. In the end, it will be Beverley. Well, not a pretty poor pass from him. Now Pavlu into the box looking for Lujic. Goes down once again. The referee waves it away. No complaints from Milos Lujic. He just picks himself up again. Brian Long. Valentini slips. Miller heads it. Now to Zuku Sakia. Keeps driving it forward. He's got three cannons around him, and in the end it's well read and turned out of trouble. There was Miller. Pavlu. Into midfield. Hillier commanded the defence all game. Now Towns will pick it up and leave it for Katabian. Oakley get it back. Now Guest. So look to move it forward. For Sheeny, edge of the box. Here's a chance for White. Dragged the shot, but here's a chance again for Fashini. Ball into midfield. Big challenge again, Ricabene. And another flashpoint late in this game. You think just Avondale, they're pretty much close to booking themselves into this grand final. They just can't be joining joining in on this sort of silly stuff where you could potentially see yourself suspended for a grand final. And the yellow cards have been flown around.
One for Blair Gova and one for Charlie Beverley, it looks like. It's always a massive mess to sort out when all players get involved in push and shove.
And this here, I think we've played probably a good minute and a half out of the last 5 minutes, Josh.
Wonder how much stoppage time we're going to see here. Stoppage time on stoppage time.
And we're waiting to see how many minutes will go up. And it will be 6 minutes, and that's probably about right to be expected. So with all the substitutions we've had a goal and plenty of little scuffles.
And it's already 30 seconds per substitution is the general rule of thumb, so it's already 3 minutes right there. And then we've had all the injury stoppages and
Valentini up for another header.
the temper flare-ups have probably been more to blame for the added time, so still time for Oakley.
Katavian just clears it into that apartment complex again. Now Zoric showed a little bit too much to his defender. And it must be a bit disappointed, Oakley. They've had such an extraordinary run to get to the semi-final from the position that they were in. The ball's headed away now. Pavlu tried to fire. And in the end, it's going to be Pavlu to get a red card. Well, he tried to pull out of that challenge, realising he wasn't going to get there first, but still collected Towns. This has been a disappointing end to a pretty promising Oakley Cannon season, Josh.
Yeah, I think that will, if the Valentini goal didn't, that will spell the end of Oakley Cannon's season. It's been an extraordinary run. It started in all sorts of bother. Chris Taylor has led an extraordinary revival. They've had great home support, turned that into a fortress. 17 games unbeaten, haven't produced their best football on the day, but I think once the pain of this impending defeat subsides, I think they will reflect on a very successful 2019 NPL season. Third place in the league from where they started is just extraordinary.
And then you turn your attention to the Avengers, who Anthony Barbieri got them into the grand final last year. I think they were unable to take victory. Zoran Markovski taking over. They lost players of the ilk of Kane Shepherd and Elvis Kamsoma to the A-League and rebuilt this squad. And finished second as Boland. What a neat turn from him. Can he create something a bit more special at the end? Boland! And in the end, it's going to be a goal kick, but just on Avondale, they've rebuilt the squad. Liam Boland has gone to another level this year. Brought in players like Tuzuku Sakia, Brandon Lundy, Scott Hillier. Beverley's come in, been an important player too. Matthew Reid coming through from NPL 2. And as we see, Tuzuku Sakia, no foul. Oakley get it clear. But it's just a matter of time before Avondale book themselves back into another grand final.
Certainly been one of Liam Boland's most productive seasons. He's had a lot of penalties, of course, but he is adept at burying those and very deserved winner of the Golden Boot. I think it's career tally in NPL Victoria's up to 76 odd goals in roughly 140 appearances, which is just better than a goal every 2 games. It's the striking ratio of all those great number 9s. As we see a bit of a mess here as a few players on the deck. Stuff going on behind play, Chris.
Well, Pachkowski did give Katavian a bit of a clobbering from behind as he tried to pass it out as Avengers players in Liam Boland and Tuzuku Sakia are on the deck. Bit of cramp from Katavian.
And Liam Boland having his ankle sprayed. It seemed like he just turned it in that last action up at the goal mouth.
Oakley Cannons getting ready to throw it in. Be interesting to see if the ball's given back, because Katabian definitely played it out so they could have these substitution to have this bit of injury looked after. So will Oakley give the ball back again or not?
I don't think they're going to.
Well, throw it forward. And we'll go out for an Avondale throw, which will allow Liam Ballin to come back onto the field. It's not long to go now. Avondale have responded so strongly since that defeat to Heidelberg that it's pretty much cost them the chance of that Premier's plate, but they can still fight for the championship. And they will be at Amy Park next Sunday at 6 o'clock. Ball headed away. Katabian shields it away and over the top for Boland. Govan will go back to his goalkeeper, Honos, who will have that conversation over the summer again. Is this going to be the last game for John Honos in the NPL? The veteran goalkeeper at Oakley. The whistles are ringing out around the grounds. Avondale throw it back in. Once again, it's another mulligan.
Do you think this performance has any bearing for Avondale's chances against Heidelberg next week, Chris? I mean, stylistically, Heidelberg...
Or Bentley. Well,
I should say that, yes.
Just giving away your tip there.
My tip is pretty nailed on. I think Heidelberg will do the business against Bentley tonight, although... There we go.
Well, there it is. It is full-time here at Avenger Park, and Avondale will get the opportunity to avenge their grand final defeat last year, and they're the first side to book themselves into the Senal NPL Victoria grand final next Sunday at 6 p.m. And Heidelberg versus Bentley will be waiting for them. That game kicking off at 6 o'clock. But it was 2 goals to Avondale in the 10th minute to Scott Hillier, in the 66th minute to Stefan Valentini. And Avondale well deserved their victory today. For Oakley, they've had such a strong season since a poor start, undefeated in such a long stretch. But once again, their last defeat was here at Avenger Park, and their last game of the season ends in defeat here at Avenger Park, Josh.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing end to an extraordinary campaign by Oakley, but let's give credit to the Victoria side today. Avondale, an extremely professional performance. They've dominated from the word go. You know, you can quibble with maybe some of the yellow cards that weren't given here and there, but they were the better team on the day. They created all the chances. They had all the play up until the last sort of 5-10 minutes when Oakley were desperately searching for an equaliser. This is why they do have the best goal difference in NPL. They were the leaders in NPL right up until the last couple of weeks of the season. There's a lot of quality in that team, and I'm sure it will be on display next week at Amy Park. Don't miss it. It's going to be a sensational day of football, and we've got so much more to come on the NPL Victoria live streams just today even, Chris.
That's it. It'll be Bryce Reuven and Brandon Galgano at 6 o'clock calling all the action from JL Murphy Reserve. Avondale will get their shot at redemption in the grand final next week. It'll either be Heidelberg or Bentley waiting for them at the conclusion of tonight's game. And I must admit, Josh, just hearing the Avondale song blast over the speakers, it's very similar to the Brisbane Lions theme song. So as a Richmond supporter, I hope this is the first and last time I hear it today.
Well, it's been a fittingly physical contest befitting an AFL theme tune, and Avondale have every reason to celebrate. You forgive them for being down in the dumps for this one after, the disappointment of losing out on that premiership, but silverware still up for grabs, and they will be there on the big day with a virtually full-strength squad. That's what you want to see, the very best in this league, in the title decider, and I think that's the result we've got.
Well, it's commiserations to Oakley from what has been such a strong season for them, but congratulations to Avondale. Once again, they get that chance at championship glory. My name is Chris Gleeson. Thank you very much to Josh Parrish for joining us today. Thank you to Sportscast and Live Graphic Systems for their work for today. And we'll see you at 6 o'clock on the NPL Victoria page as Heidelberg and Bentley get ready to play.